The other day, I was doing what I normally do in terms of my content creation skills, in terms of my building my skills as a audio editor, video editor. I was just practicing and trying to work with the applications which are on the smartphones, the video applications, the photographic applications which are on the smartphones to really level up my skills, to build my skills because of, again, my content creation efforts and my desire to do better audio editing, video editing, all types of things, just build up my skills and re-emerge the skills that I had in the past as a photographer and my little bit of dabbling into videography. Now, as you can see here, this is some B-roll footage of a hike that goes out into the Chesapeake Bay. This is Ocean View Beach. Now, this particular bit of footage is a compilation of what was about 40 minutes of B-roll that I did at that location. And all during that time, I was gang stalked by women, and in particular, there was one woman who stayed close by me, observing me all during that 40 minutes, and actually came down to near where I was to see what I was doing. But she stayed within close proximity to me just for the purpose of observing me and seeing what I was doing. Now, I began to think about this phenomenon because it dawned upon me that in my past years as a photographer and doing some video, doing a little bit of video, but the video was on digital tape instead of a iPhone. And prior to that, the photography was using a film camera of some sort. But in all my days as a photographer, prior to this time when I'm producing content, I never had this type of trouble. I never had incident after incident where I am being gang stalked, I am being observed, that a woman is trying to interfere with what I'm doing, trying to ask me what I'm doing, that type of thing. And for reference, my gear that I had prior to this in terms of the analog photography, which was again film-based, was much more extensive than what I am using now. So for instance, I had two Mamiya 645 medium format cameras. I had large format cameras. I had all types of lenses, 35 millimeter lenses for the 645s, all types of things. So I had an extensive array of equipment, filters, tripods, that type of thing. And I would regularly do what I'm doing currently just to keep my skills up to date, to do photography, all types of things. I would do what I'm doing right now in the past, and I didn't really have the type of trouble that I'm having now. And I can count on my fingers, and it's maybe 5 times that I was either interfered with or asked a question. But flash forward to present time, I am constantly interfered with. I am constantly bothered. Like again, during the 40 or so minutes I was doing this content, I was gang stalked. I was approached by people, primarily women, just hovering around me, watching me, observing me. And then again, it was this one woman who stood within proximity of me and actually came very close to me just to observe what I was doing. And of course, they tried to kind of fake it like they were picking up seashells and everything from the beach. But I could see these women looking at me as they were picking up the shells and looking at what I was doing. So they used the excuse of they were collecting seashells as an excuse to come over to observe me. And in particular, that one woman used that excuse to come over to observe me, although it was obvious that there were no shells in that location. And as you can see, there were just particles of shells in the location where I was at. So there was no reason for that woman to come into that location to do that, but only to observe me, to see what I was doing. And again, I began to think about this phenomena because, again, I thought about my prior days as a photographer and doing all the stuff that I did, and how much I had at points had a camera with me all the time, everywhere I went. And back then, I was never really bothered. But now, flash forward, I'm being bothered every time I do something that's on a location like the beach that I'm at. And what's even worse, again, the equipment that I have right now is, in my opinion, not really much in comparison to what I did have. I did have an extensive array of lenses, cameras, tripods, all types of things, accessories for those lenses, everything, all types of equipment. And I regularly had this equipment with me when I was out shooting and doing things and just trying to learn how things work. But again, the equipment that I had at the time of this footage was just a basic iPhone, a phone cage, a microphone, and a tripod, which the cage and the microphone sat upon. And for reference, again, we live in an age now where everybody has a camera on them. Everybody has a video camera on them because of the smartphone technology. And so, again, in my mind, there should be no reason that I'm just out there taking pictures of the water and just practicing my craft, so to speak. There should be no reason why, if everybody else has a camera, has a smartphone, and in some cases better than the smartphone that I have. Again, it was just a basic iPhone 13. It wasn't a Pro model. It was just a basic iPhone 13 with a cage and a tripod and a mic. And I observed that many of the women that were on the beach at that time had better models of the iPhone series. They had Pro models, and the way you can tell, the standard models have 2 lenses. The Pro models have 3 lenses. They have a 3-lens array. And so, again, it stood to reason in my mind, if everybody has a smartphone in their pocket and has the capability to photograph and has the capability to do videos, and in certain cases, those women that have those things have better capabilities than I do, it should stand to reason that I should not be in a condition where I am being observed, I'm being gang stalked, I'm being interfered with. And also there is the aspect of things like this. I was in a Walmart, and I happened to walk into the electronics section, and I saw in one part of that section the tools and the equipment for people to do vlogging. So that was the selfie sticks, the camera lights, all these types of things. That was in a Walmart. And so that, in my mind, makes the capability for anybody to do YouTube videos, Rumble videos, or whatever. It has gotten so mainstream that Walmart is carrying this type of equipment. And so there again, when I was doing photography very heavily back in the day, you could only get the type of equipment that I had from like camera stores or anything like that. Like there was a store called Willoughby's in New York. There's Cambridge Camera. There's B&H, that type of thing. You would have to go to those types of stores to get the type of equipment that I had in the day. But flash forward to today, anybody and everybody can go to a Walmart and get the equipment to do basic YouTube videos, do vlogging, do photography, that type of thing with a smartphone camera. So again, in my mind, it seems illogical to me that I would be bothered by women in particular because I am on a beach and I'm just practicing my craft. And, you know, with photographers, our motto is that you take what you have and you learn how to use what you have. And then you move on and get a camera or get a better device or whatever. You take what you have and learn and graduate from there. And that's what I was doing. I'm taking what I have and learning and understanding and bettering myself. So again, it stood to reason in my mind that if everybody has a camera in their phone, why am I having difficulty with women in particular bothering me, gang stalking me, getting into my shots or interfering with me, coming by me and saying, I'm just looking for this, don't mind me, why am I having this? And what really sparked this was I was listening to Black Ram 313, a bit of his content, and he did some content about women not accepting men because they did not have iPhones. So like if I tried to approach a woman and she asked me if I had an iPhone and I told her no, I have an Android, I would be rejected by that woman. And it began to dawn on me that the extent of the oppression that we free men face is so incomprehensibly embedded into the society which we know is the feminist plantation state that it is very troubling. And it's not a matter of me being on a beach with some other people who all had smartphones, who all had iPhones, Androids, whatever. It was the mere fact that what I was doing was violating mandates of the feminist plantation state. The principal mandate that I violated was I was alone on that beach and I was not in the company of a woman and I was doing something that didn't involve a woman. So basically, yes, I had an iPhone, a basic iPhone, but I was supposed to be in the company of a woman for the use of that iPhone. That iPhone had to be used to photograph a woman, so to speak. It had to be used for that purpose, not for the purpose of me trying to level up my game, so to speak, in terms of audio, video, that type of thing. It had to be for the purpose of recording a woman. Or if I was to do those things, a woman had to be in my presence in order for me to do those things. I had to have her permission, so to speak, to level up my game. And if that leveling up became a type of thing that interfered with her whims, her wishes, I was to stop that. I was to put my attention upon her. So there was that breaking of the rule of the feminist plantation state. There was that type of deal that I was alone on a beach, minding my business and trying to level up my game. But that is wrong in terms of the feminist plantation state. The other issue was that I was using that iPhone in a non-standard way. Again, that iPhone is to be used to photograph a woman or photograph something that the woman has approval of. Again, because I was alone and using that iPhone in a manner that was inconsistent with what the feminist plantation state wants me to do, I was in violation of that mandate. Even though I own that equipment, and even though that equipment is much less in value in terms of the equipment that I had prior to this, I was still in violation of the FPS because I was using that equipment in a non-standard way, which was inconsistent with what the FPS mandates. So again, I cannot level up my game. I cannot do these things as a free man because it's inconsistent with what the FPS says. Now, in my mind, again, this seems illogical to me because we live in a technological time where the equipment that is needed to do vlogging, to do video, do photography is much less in terms of cost, in terms of the value of it. But the technology itself is so advanced over the technology that I used back in the day that why not take advantage of that? Why not use what I had developed in the past as creative skills, use the advantage of that technology to progress myself, to learn about the way things work today versus the way things worked back in the day. Why not build my skills again or rebuild my skills again by using the technology that exists today and help myself to level up using the skills that I had in the past, but adapting them to the technology that exists today. Why not use the skills and the understanding of photography that I learned back in the day with the new technology that's out here, and begin to do things that I kind of dreamt of doing and just on the outer edges of doing right now. Why not use the advantage of the technology being lower in cost in terms of back in the day, it was thousands of dollars versus hundreds of dollars today. Things are more affordable. And so in my mind, it is logical to take advantage of these things, given the skills that I have, to take advantage of these things and go forward with what I would like to do and really kind of level myself up with these things. But if you look at the way this technology is marketed and positioned for, you'll find that the technology is more positioned for women. And again, there is another aspect of this, is that I cannot, as a man, use this technology because it is positioned for a woman. It is not really positioned for me. Now, when you get into the higher level cameras and everything, that is a different story. But the level that you do vlogging, just YouTube content, Rumble content, the technology that is positioned for that is usually positioned for women. So there again, that is a violation of the mandates and dictates of the feminist plantation state. So right there is the answer to my question. Why is this happening now? The reason why this is happening now is that feminism has gotten stronger. The feminist plantation state has gotten so powerful in our society that I, as a free man, if I even go out and mind my business and take a iPhone that I own, that I paid for, take a tripod that I paid for, a phone case that I paid for, a microphone that I paid for, even if it's lesser in value than the equipment that I had prior to the smartphone revolution, prior to iPhones and all those things. I cannot do these things because the feminist plantation state says I cannot do these things. That's how the feminist plantation state thinks of we men. It's not a matter of me being a black man with an iPhone and a phone cage and an iPhone and a tripod on the beach. It is because I am doing these things which are inconsistent with the mandates of the feminist plantation state. I am violating the very mandate of the feminist plantation state that I don't have a woman in my presence and my activity is not focused on a woman. That is what we all face as free men, that we cannot do what we can do without the presence of a woman. That's how highly ingrained it is in this society. You cannot eat alone. You cannot go to a beach and practice your talents, work on your skills. You cannot do these things without the presence of a woman. And this is why, again, I know in my mind, I must stand up for my freedom as a man because I have the right to do whatever I want to do. And if that is to expand my tents and my fields, so to speak, without the presence of a woman, I have the right to do so as a free man.